a very welcome to everyone joining us from across Asia. And for those who are celebrating this week, Kong Si Fat Chai or Kong Hei Fat Choi. We are delighted to have you joining us today for our virtual user group for new users. It's great to see you all here. And as we wait for everyone to log into the session, we're going to do a little bit of a little poll. So you will see it now on your screen. We have one question there, so please feel free to participate. So our poll question is, what are you looking forward to most in the group today? So I'm gonna go through the questions, your answer choices. So hearing another organization, how they use Smartsheet, and ability to ask the Smartsheet team some questions, and of course, learning about new product features and seeing a Smartsheet demo. So we'd like to know what you think. Okay, so for those that don't know me, my name is Nina Tan. I am one of the customer success managers in the APAC region, and I'll be your host today. Given this is a virtual user group, we want this session to be as interactive as possible for you. You'll see at the bottom of your screen, there is a panel for questions and answers, so don't be shy to use it. If you have any questions, please submit them in the Q&A so our team can keep track of the questions and answer them accordingly. We'll try to get as many as possible during the Q&A portion, and if you don't get them through all, we'll ensure to answer them after the session. A very special welcome to our guest speakers, Maha and Taylor from Device Technologies. We are so honored to have you here, and we look forward to hearing your Smartsheet story shortly. Okay, so what's on the agenda today? So we have Maha and Taylor from Device Technologies sharing how they got started with their Smartsheet journey and where they are today. And a special welcome to Nigel Mendonça, our VP of Asia Pacific, who will say a few words as we kick off our first virtual user group for 2022. We will have plenty of opportunities for open Q&A with our guest speakers. And last but not the least, we have Brianna Dubre, demonstrating what makes Smartsheet unique. She'll be touching on automations and dashboards, as well as provide us all with tips and tricks. So welcome, Brianna. Glad to have you here. And now I'm going to hand it over to Nigel to say a few words.
Thank you, Nina. Thanks for the introduction. Really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Really appreciate everybody taking the time out of your busy days to join. Look, I'm really delighted to welcome you to our very first user group for this year, 2022, and happy Lunar New Year for those celebrating Lunar New Year. It's something very close to my heart. I lived in Hong Kong for 6 years, so lots of fun celebrations over that time. So Kong Hei Fat Choi to everyone celebrating Lunar New Year. And just as importantly, today we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary of this particular user group, specifically our new users that are at the beginning of their Smartsheet journey. Some of you may know, but many of you probably don't. We actually put a lot of time and effort into developing communities. We find that because of the nature of our technology, it's very much user driven. Within our customers' organizations, there's a lot of value. We get a lot of great feedback about the value of connecting folks that are actually at the coalface of their businesses, using the technology to do lots of innovative and varied things, and sharing those experiences with other people is often proves to be really helpful. People can get ideas about the way they can apply those applications or those use cases to their own businesses. So that's it's something that we're committed to, and we hope you find it valuable too. This is also a special time of the year for us here at Smartsheet because we've just celebrated 2 years of being on the ground here in the APAC region. We opened our Sydney office in January 2020, right before the pandemic hit. We did that with the objective of providing, better, more localized support for our customers. Prior to that, we did have a reasonably substantial number of customers in this region, but we were servicing those customers out of our headquarters over in Seattle in the US, and it was clear that there was a need for our customers to get more localized support in the same time zone with folks that know this region better, and we're in a position to provide better levels of support. So since that time, we've ramped up our team pretty substantially. We've got roughly 75 odd people in our APAC team now across pretty much all of our customer-facing functions, as well as operational and back office functions. So we're really well set up now to help our customers. Anything from solution implementation to consulting to account management to customer success, finance and legal, and all of those sorts of functions that really our customers rely on to get the most out of their investment and their partnership with us. So, and we're excited about the growth ahead as well. So 2 years ago, it was probably hard to imagine that we would be where we are today, and we want to thank all of you for playing a part in this journey. Collaborative work management, which is the category that the analysts really lump out our type of technology in. It's still relatively unknown. So there's a lot of great, really useful applications for our type of technology across, like I said earlier on, across many and varied parts of businesses. We're still, we're really in education mode and helping lots of organisations understand what where those areas are that they can leverage and improve their business processes and productivity and those sorts of things. So, whilst we're really proud of our accomplishments over the last couple of years, we're also really proud of, we hear very often about the journey that our customers are taking, and through our customer success team, we get to see and hear about a lot of the different areas that our customers are deploying our technology and solving problems and having success. So we're really proud to see the success that our customers are having, and great opportunity today for you guys to hear from Taylor and Maha from Device Technologies. They're one of those successful customers, and I think you'll find it really interesting. So I really hope that you leave today's session feeling inspired about the possibilities for Smartsheet to help you achieve your own business goals. If you need any help brainstorming or getting a project off the ground and you're not quite sure how, our team's always here to help. So don't hesitate to reach out. We often put customers in touch with other customers directly as well. But we also leverage the successes that we're seeing from customers right across the globe in our different communities. We're delighted to have the opportunity to help you out. So once again, on behalf of the team here at APAC, welcome to the Smartsheet community and all the very best with your journey, and enjoy today's user group. Thanks, Nina. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Nigel. We appreciate you taking the time to say a quick hello today, and also for giving an insight on how we've grown as a team here in APAC and what's more to come down the road. Okay, now let's kick off with our customer story spotlight. On behalf of all our Smartsheet community members here, a very warm welcome to Maha and Taylor from Device Technologies. Maha and Taylor, the floor is now all yours.
Thank you so much, Nina. And it was such a pleasure just listening to the fact that in Sydney, you've just turned a year old. So now from our own perspective, and thank you for this opportunity, we've had great partnerships with Smartsheets in the last year that we've been on this journey. A quick introduction for myself. I manage the program management office at Device Technologies. Next slide, please. I can talk a little bit about what we really are. We are a Sydney-based medical technology organization. So through the 1990s, it started in the backyard of our founders. We've now grown to be about 850 employees strong. And really, what do? We provide high-tech robots that perform surgeries on patients across hospitals. We also provide any form of medical technology, ventilators, surgical equipment to support surgeons across the nation. More recently, we've also expanded to Southeast Asia, and managing the program management office here has been quite different to all of my, other stints, right? So I've spent a substantial amount of time in the US, where I was a significant user of Smartsheets, a big fan. But Device is unique. We are in healthcare, highly regulated industry, very collaborative. We're only as good as the outcome we provide for our patients. And I think that forms the heart of everything we do from a program management office perspective as well. Very quickly, next slide, please. The journey that we have been on with Smartsheets largely started because we had a genuine need. We've been an organization which has been growing, and the last 3 years has only accelerated that. Most of our growth has been from acquisitions of businesses. As you can see, 21 businesses in the last 16 years. I myself am less than a year old with Device, but I've already seen 3 acquisitions in that timeline. And we've been managing a bunch of projects. And for us, projects could range from a variety of things. Setting up an operating theater is an installation project that could well cost millions of dollars. To in the backend, integrating ourselves with all of these acquisitions, doing systems integration, systems implementations are also projects that we manage. We onboard principals constantly, almost one every month, and we offboard principals as well, and those are also treated as projects. From a project management office perspective, it was really getting quite crazy trying to manage all of that with Excel sheets. We love Excel, and we certainly love Smartsheets because it seems like a very natural extension of Excel. But what we significantly lagged as I came into this role, I remember thinking, is just the ability to collaborate, the ability to create plans on the go, and sometimes structuring ourselves up for even an acquisition would take us up to 6 weeks. And that was not sustainable. So we started looking at various options. We evaluated several project management tools. And Feb 2021, it's almost a year now, towards the end of the month in the last year is when we finalized Smartsheets. I wasn't with Device at that point. I did step in much later, but we started with 15 user licenses, and I'll quickly walk you through the journey we've had so far. Next slide, please. So for us, in less than a year, as you can see, we've been up to a lot, right? So we initiated the partnership. Nina and team have been fabulous, onboarding us, supporting us, getting our 15 users, started on the tool itself. And I remember a conversation I had with Nina back in April, as we started off on it. She said, Maha, you have all this fantastic support from Smartsheets. Now we really have to put a plan together about how you're going to enable Device Technologies. And it was a curious moment for all of us, right? We procured a tool. To be honest, we didn't fully understand its capabilities. We had looked at project planning and thought, okay, this is excellent. We can migrate all of our Excel plans into Smartsheets. And as Nina walked us through some of the capabilities, it really opened our eyes to, everything else that Smartsheets can do for us as an organization. We're very entrepreneurial in our nature. We have very much a startup culture. All of us roll our sleeves up and get the job done. And it is in one of those such moments that we onboarded Taylor, who's on the call with me here, as a solution lead. And what was really funny was Taylor had never heard about Smartsheets before. She'd never seen the tool before that. And it took her all of 8 weeks to get us started. The PMO toolkit we have developed, and Taylor will definitely walk you through that in a moment, is something that really caters to all the variety of projects that I just mentioned. And it's helping us even manage delivery across a few other areas. And as people are using Smartsheets, I remember the executive assistant of my manager, who was the chief operating officer, she started asking, do we take lunch orders on this? What else can we do with Smartsheets? It's really been that kind of a tool that has grown on us, but it just seems so familiar as we've been using. And more recently, I think we've identified more use cases that we can apply Smartsheets to. We've had a strategic imperative of launching continuous improvement. And for that as well, Smartsheets very quickly enabled us to come up with all the tools that we'll probably need to manage some of those initiatives. And that we talk about almost 6 to 7 initiatives every single month on continuous improvement. Among the 800 people, we have 15 super users, I call them, the ones with licenses, and they're embedded in various parts of the organization as well, all the way from HR to finance. And that's proving to help us a lot because they feel like they own this tool and they can create solutions that work for them. And we're not really creating a cookie cutter model. We're not creating one set of toolkits across the organization. So what Taylor and I are talking about in detail today is the PMO toolkit, but there is a bunch of other things that we're using Smartsheets for and continue to kind of pick our own brains to say where else can we kind of integrate it. And in terms of internal and external sharing, like when we are onboarding a new principal, this could be a provider of kneecaps, for instance, right? And when we have to collaborate with them, one of our sticky points was always, how shall we share this in a manner where it's not just emails and meetings, because that's not working for anyone. I'm sure all of you feel this through COVID, the fatigue of meetings that we have had has been quite insane. Every conversation becomes a meeting. And in that aspect, I think Smartsheets has really helped us a lot. So back in April, when we were onboarding a principal, I remember constantly both the CEOs, with a gun to my head saying, where is the plan? It took me 6 weeks to come up with a plan. And more recently, we were all reflecting in Jan when we had to onboard a very similar principal again. It took us less than a day. We had a plan up and running. We could reuse what we had created. We had imported into Smartsheets. And that in itself, for an entrepreneurial culture, I mean, it's like caffeine to somebody who's woken up in the morning, right? We feel like, oh, let's do this, let's do more on this, and let's keep going. So with that, I'll just quickly hand over to Taylor, who's our solution lead. And we always smile when we say that because she was as alien to Smartsheets as anybody could be. And she'll walk you through some of what we have done at Devise. And please feel free to ask questions, even as we are talking about anything you'd want to hear more about. Over to you, Taylor.
Thank you so much, Maha. Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor Beard, and I have been with Devise Technologies for just over a year now. And when I first heard of Smartsheets, like Maha said, I've never heard of it before, and I've never used it. And I was really looking forward to getting into it. So today I will be talking about Smartsheet build for the PMO. So during this build, I have worked alongside the Smartsheet team with Dhruv, Nina, and Sarah, as well as the DTA project managing and IT team. So at the beginning of this journey, we had identified a need for a change at the current system of project management. Smartsheet was chosen as it enabled the robust report and managing for project delivery and process improvement. Expanding on what Maha has mentioned before, Smartsheet has enabled some of the following features for us. It was a platform to keep easy and up-to-date information. A system itself was relatively easy to adopt. We can accommodate for large structured projects. Smartsheet contains workflow management abilities for all sheets produced. This adds workflow features in scheduling and management of initiatives, thereby increasing accountability and visibility across the organization. This feature has also reduced the man hours needed to update and communicate for project managers. It has specific collaboration and sharing capabilities. So for DTA, this ensures that internal and external visibility dramatically increases. Smartsheet is an efficient tool for automated reporting and a way to manage risks and issues. So during the development of the Smartsheet for the PMO, we had access to dedicated onboarding support from Smartsheet. So Dhruv, Nina, and Sarah have been a great support in this onboarding process through power hour sessions and individual discussions as needed. So on this slide, you'll be able to see I have listed all forms, sheets, dashboards, and reports, which were created as part of the new project managing platform. We split the build into 2 main phases, build 1 being the build of all required project items, and phase 2 being the deployment and build of any features factors which were identified as requiring integration, which is including continuous improvement, resource planning, and dashboard creation. So next slide, please. So I began my Smartsheet journey with the assistance of Smartsheet Solution Center. So Smartsheet offers their Solution Center to all licensed users. This platform allows me to browse in a large variety of templates for a quick build. So I utilized the Project Managing Office template set, which provided a streamlined way for device technologies to approve, track, and create new projects while aggregating key metrics across all of the projects in real time. So that was great. With the foundations laid and the ideas provided from these templates, we utilized the 10 hours build time allocated from our Smartsheet architect, Drew, along with sessions held by Nina, and customized that platform to suit our needs. We also communicated with our account manager, Sarah, to discuss any extra features that we needed. Next slide, please. Right, so diving in, the next slides are screenshots of the Smartsheet build from the PMO. Please note that all data within these slides are made up for the purpose of this presentation. All right, so firstly, I'd like to point out, it's a little bit busy on this slide, but all of these are subdivided, and there's about 3 different screenshots here for the different sheets that we have developed. So in the left-hand side, you'll be able to see a form. So we have the project instigation form. So as you'll be able to see here, this draws straight into the intake sheet. So that's, you don't have to worry about all the fiddly things about people submitting forms and you manually inputting everything. It's all automatic when submitted. So there are many customizable features within this form, which I find useful, including implementing logic, requiring fields and hidden fields. So they were some things which I found really useful within the forms, as well as all of the text that you could add separately. So once a form is submitted, the appropriate staff are automatically informed through a set of automation process to have the project approved or rejected. So this is all automatic and you don't have to worry about touching anything. It gets sent to the appropriate people. So for example, Maha is the first person that gets informed to whether you approve or reject this project. So the appropriate people are connected and it's all automated. Next, I have the project plan. So that is what is listed as shown on the bottom of the page there. And something to note in the project plan is there are many different ideas that I wanted to integrate to ensure that this was a centralized platform for project managers to open and to be able to show as much or as little information as they would like. So besides the standard requirements for a project plan, I also included some of the following. So we utilized the Gantt chart capabilities of Sheets for very visible visibility of the tasks. You'll be able to see on the right-hand side there. And we were also able to implement a navigation, summary, and initial setup instructions. Now, these were something which I never really thought of when I was first introduced to Smartsheets, but since I had the discussions with Nina and Drew, I really had the understanding to be able to implement these features. So a bit of an idea about what these are. So you're able to expand these sections, so the black rows that you'll see in that bottom image there, and you'll be able to see an expanded version of this to the right-hand side of what you're looking at in this slide. So the summary section provides a high-level information relating to the project, which draws directly into the project dashboard. And the navigation list assists with jumping between sheets, dashboards, and reports for that single project, that specific project, without heading back and browsing through many folders. So all shortcuts are listed at the top of each document for ease of use. So the next one is in the central location of this slide here, and that is the POAP. So POAP is a project on a page, and this is a dashboard. So when data is changed in any sheet relating to this project, this dashboard would automatically update the relevant information. So this leaves a live project view, which has reduced the hours spent creating weekly project updates for our project managers. Yeah, next slide, please. All right, finally, this is the screenshot of our dashboard, which is placed in a centralized location for all staff to review material relating to the project within Smartsheet. So as you will be able to see, the dashboard contains Smartsheet shortcuts, useful website links, related images, features which I believe will be useful to the new user, and documentation for the setup of a new project. So this dashboard is accessible to all staff within DTA or Device Technologies. However, due to sharing capabilities, I am very confident that only the staff that I have shared the specific project documents with will be able to access them through the links within the documentation. So the security of Smartsheet around that is very useful for our purposes as well. Yeah, so that's it from me. Thank you everyone for letting us share our experience.
Okay, thank you so much, Maha and Taylor, for sharing what you've done in Smartsheet. Now, a couple of questions that we have in here. The first one is, what was your, you've been in Smartsheet for, I think, going on 1 year now. And so at the beginning, what was your change management approach at the time when you were introducing Smartsheet to employees of Device Technologies? And what were the challenges you encountered and what worked for the team?
Absolutely, Nina. I mean, like with any other tool or technology, right? Like when we were introducing Smartsheets, there's always the question of what can it do for the user? And I think starting with the why really helped. And like I mentioned, we are a very entrepreneurial culture, and I don't think for the sake of governance or bureaucracy, we would ever be able to introduce something in device, right? So it was always talking to the whys, how does it simplify? And like I said, we gave certain examples of if you're working with a hospital and you want to collaborate, the sheet can allow you to share, a plan with up to 1,000 people, and they can give you all the updates. And that why really resonates, right? And then when people start using the tool, the collaboration itself became an agent of change. I feel like the more people who collaborated with it, the more they were coming back and saying, can I also get this? And, can I get onboarded? And some of the good things that you taught us, Nina, I feel like, as you did the onboarding program, you ran a power hour for us once every month just to answer questions. We continue to run that. Taylor runs that even today, right? And that's always helped because if they know they have a place they can come to and they have a forum in which they can, collaborate and ideate, then I feel the adoption of Smartsheets has just increased organically in that sense. Hope that answers your question. Let me know if you need more details, whoever posed the question.
Thank you, Maha. I think what stuck with me was when you mentioned that collaboration itself became the agent of change. I think that's one of the biggest strengths of Smartsheet. For people that are new to the platform, that's one of the first questions they ask, like, how do I share this with my colleagues or clients or vendors? And what we always tell them, look, as long as they have an email address, they have a computer, they're an actual human being, you can collaborate with them in Smartsheet. And there's no limit there. And it just makes the job easier because, you're giving them the visibility. You want things to be done faster. And Smartsheet in itself is a collaborative work management platform. So thank you so much for that. Okay, the next question is, our audience today are new users of Smartsheet. And like you, as you said, most of them have made an investment in Smartsheet for their project management requirements. We also have users here that have not started their Smartsheet learning yet. And seeing and allowing the audience now to see what you have accomplished in Smartsheet for less than a year, what is your advice to new users in order to be successful in the platform? Aside from what you've already mentioned, which is, having a champion like Taylor, maybe continuing the power hours that we have started. So what else could you, advise them?
Taylor, did you want to go for that?
I might take this one. So I have a data analytics background, and I feel like even with that, Smartsheet was very easy for me to pick up despite that. And the main difficulties that I faced early on were to the interconnection of different sheets within my Smart workspace. However, it was basically through the recurring power hour sessions that we've brought up and the individual assistance from our Smartsheet team, which built up the confidence and understanding of the platform. We also had access to Smartsheet University, which allowed me to grasp the full capabilities and the possibilities of Smartsheet, because there's a lot of extra features which you're not overly aware of that are very unique to Smartsheet and that are really great to try and utilize. So through this, we have encouraged champions across all the different departments. So this has resulted in numerous conversations and collaborations around where other opportunities to use Smartsheets lie. Some outcomes of this include what Maha was saying before about lunch orders even, but it's also continuous improvement forms where all staff have access to. It's asset tracking, dashboards and automations. So what I'm saying is basically any skill level that you're being introduced to, there is so many platforms that Smartsheet provides to definitely build your confidence and make you feel like you can create any solution that you need to. Hope that answered that.
Thank you so much, Taylor. I think you've nailed it. Thank you for mentioning as well Smartsheet University. Majority of our new customers have access to that. Also, I'd like to point out we have Smartsheet community as well. So one of the things that we ask new customers is to actually register and be part of that community. If you haven't heard of it, it's your first time to hear that we have a community. For the audience here, just Google Smartsheet community, register there. And then that's it. So a majority of our clients, they really find some of the answers to their questions. And even for those that are learning how to do automations or even formulas, most of the time they actually find the answer there. It's just a good way to understand how other people are using Smartsheet. My last question is, now that you have a working solution in Smartsheet to provide the PMO capability of project planning and reporting, what is the impact of this technological improvement in your organization? What does this mean for 2022? And if change did not happen, what would be the outcome to the business and what's the risk?
Nina, I think we were just in time with Smartsheets, right? I think COVID has also changed how we all operate. Being in healthcare, it's very alien for us to actually be doing a lot of what we do online. But somewhere, I think with projects, we just transitioned in time. And this has really enabled us to kind of, collaborate better online, which was never possible before, even to do a project plan, we'd all have to get into a room and actually construct something out. But with Smartsheets, we're finding that, we're able to reuse a lot of what we have. We're able to import, previous artifacts in and then start editing it pretty quickly and in real time, because we can do it and collaborate on, on it. And that's been really fantastic. And even from an industry perspective, our due diligence process, for instance, has now gone online. We're able to do it concurrently. We're able to do it, effectively, reduce the number of meetings that we have. And I feel that's been fantastic, right? And that's the organic, I think, what it's meant for us as well. As we continue to grow through all of this that COVID has impacted, and healthcare especially, I feel like, as an industry, we have morphed. So everybody who's collaborating with us, our partners, our customers, they are also, I think, really feeling the benefit of having this. And that's where I think we've set ourselves up well for the next 2 years. Even if I look at our strategic goals, from a facilitating projects perspective, we are well positioned, and we've started talking to Sarah, who's our account manager, around even building a roadmap for the tool and further integrating this, across the organization. So those are, I think, some of what this has enabled for us and where we see this going in the future.
Okay, thank you so much, Maha, for that. I think just mindful of the time that we have, but I think that's pretty much what we have for the questions and answers. Again, Maha and Taylor will be joining us throughout until the last part of this. So if you have more questions, please feel free to pop it into our Q&A box. Okay, so with that, thank you again so much for sharing with us your Smartsheet story. Now we will move on to Brianna from our commercial sales engineering team, who will give us a demo of what makes Smartsheet unique. So what you're hearing, what you heard from Taylor and Maha, this is Brianna giving you a run through of how that works in Smartsheet. Over to you now.
Thanks, Nina, and hi, everyone. It's really great to have so many people on the call, and I'm really excited to show you some tips and tricks of how you can get started in the same way that Taylor has just gone through. If I can just take over screen share. All right, so what we're looking at here is what Taylor had pointed out. It's our solution center. So when you get started, you can click on the button on the left-hand side for the solution center, and you can browse through a whole heap of different types of templates. And if you can take anything away from this presentation, or from my part of this presentation, is that just don't feel shy to play around with them. And these are really, really good place to get started. You can see all sorts of different types of templates. That doesn't just need to be project management. You can be looking through all kinds of different types of solutions, just to find things that work for you, understand different ways of using Smartsheet, and just get more familiar in the solution. So when you come through here, as you can see, you can search. I've got a search on here for project management, and we've got two different types of templates in here. We've got in green the template sets, and then in blue just templates. And I'll just quickly point out what the difference is there, because I think it's helpful to know that the template sets are a whole solution. So you'll get a sheet or multiple sheets and reports and dashboards that create a whole solution, whereas the blue ones are just a single sheet normally. So you can browse through there, find something that works for you, and just get going and start playing around with it. So when you do pick a template set, you'll be able to click on it and then click Learn More, and it's going to take you to a dashboard, a Smartsheet dashboard for that particular template set. And it gives you a whole bunch of information about what's going to come included with that, that template set. What's the skill level required. A lot of them have a little video as well that explains how it all works. But most importantly, you've got a big download button that's going to let you click that and get started. So I've kicked off one earlier today, and that was the project tracking and roll up. And in here, it has a project plan, so sheet, which is tracking the progress of my project. It has 3 reports, so at-risk tasks, milestones in that project, and then tasks by status. And then lastly, it has a dashboard, which is like the POAP that Taylor pointed out, that project on a page that's going to display all the key information about your project automatically. So I'll get straight into that sheet, the project plan. Here we've got a very typical example of a project plan for people who are used to working out of spreadsheets or sheets. Then this is the type of view that is probably pretty familiar. But with all of your sheets in Smartsheet, you have the ability to toggle between different views. So this is the standard grid view. If you are working on a project, then you've got the ability as well to toggle and view it into a grid, into a Gantt view. So this is really helpful for visualizing dependencies and seeing how each of your tasks are related to one another. You've also got the ability to toggle on the card view. This is really a nice way of visualizing the work. You can do it by, in this example, I've got different lanes for my different statuses, or we can do it by who it's assigned to. And you've quickly got the ability to assess that, Kirk has a lot of work on, but I don't. So maybe we want to actually, reassign some of this work to even things out. This is the type of view that, people find really helpful to bring to a meeting, for example, where you're collaborating and visualizing and making edits on the fly. So if I go back to my sheet here, I'll just point out a few of the capabilities of sheets. So for example, when I kicked off this new template, it came with these specific columns, but we absolutely want this to be flexible for you. So as an example, if I look at my status column, This is a drop-down column, and it includes not started, in progress, complete, canceled, and on hold. But if you wanted to change that to suit your business, it's as easy as clicking on here, and straight away you can see that it's easy to, remove or add new options to that column. Likewise, if you wanted to add a new column, you can just click to add, and then you have all of these different types of columns that you can build into your solution. So for example, adding a contact list, a specific date column is really helpful, drop downs, check boxes, and symbols as well to really customize this to suit whatever it is that the purpose of that sheet will be. So one of the things that stood out to me in the presentation that Taylor had done was and Maha as well, was about the collaboration that they gained from using Smartsheet. So I'll point out a few of the ways that you can use Smartsheet to collaborate, and one of them would be the ability to chat with your teams directly in the sheet. So we really want this to become something that is a one-stop shop as much as possible. So if we're working on, this project kickoff task, you can tag your coworkers and ask them for an update, and they'll get a chat. And all of that gets contained right in the sheet, so you're not digging through emails that you maybe didn't get CC'd on, and everything can be recorded in one place. Likewise, you will have the ability to add attachments to your rows or to the sheet. Again, it's achieving the ability to kind of aggregate everything into one spot. So if at the end of the project kickoff task, we had a PowerPoint that you wanted to attach here, those can come directly from your share drives, or you can upload them directly from your desktop as well. So I've also got this column here for assigned to. As you saw, we were able to add our contact column. So when you are assigning tasks to people, one really useful thing that you can do is set up automations, which will automatically trigger off workflows to people to let them know that they have new tasks, to let them know maybe if something's run overdue. For example, I've set up this automation here. Something that I personally use a lot in Smartsheet is every single Monday, I will send myself an alert to let me know everything that's coming up for that week, so that I get a nice email of all of my work. And these are really simple to set up. You can customize them per sheet and say exactly how you want these to move forward. So we have a whole bunch of different workflows, things like alerting people, assigning people. You can even do really collaborative ones, which are things like requesting an update from somebody, as well as requesting an approval. So when we do an approval workflow, you can get really specific about what happens if they approve it, what happens if they decline it. So you'll be able to set up lots of great workflows like that. So the next thing I'll point out outside of the sheets is how you can report on this information. So you might have the big master project plan, which has lots of information, but there may be segments of people who are just interested in a specific segment of that. So we can do things like create an at-risk tasks report. So here we can see that we're looking at the project plan. This can be based off of one specific sheet or many to bring in information from across different projects. And then you can really pick exactly which columns are going to be important in this view. Again, so the people that you're sharing it with don't need to, get bogged down in information that may not be relevant. And then what you can do is include different filters, of course, to have, segmented views in that way. With reports as well, you can group them and filter, which is really helpful. So in this case, I'm looking at all of our tasks, and I'm grouping them and counting them by how many of them are canceled, completed, not started, etc. So you can start to think about all the different ways that you might use reports on top of your sheets. So lastly, I'm going to point out the dashboard, which is included in this particular template set. So you'll be able to plot out information about your particular project that's going to be relevant and useful and actionable for your teams. So in this case, I can see this breakdown of how many of my tasks are assigned in the different statuses at any given time. Again, this is completely live. So as you mark your tasks as completed, this gets updated straight away. And I've plotted some different metrics on here that will be relevant to my teams, such as the people working on it. I've got links to different items within the system that people can quickly access. And again, a little roll up of my at-risk tasks and my milestones here. So with the dashboard, one thing I'd love to point out is that, this is simply one example of how it could look like, but our dashboards are like everything in Smartsheet, they're no code. So you have the ability to add the different widgets that we're going to make this relevant. So we can put metrics, different charts, shortcuts, reports. You can even put images and web content to different websites in here. So again, the purpose of this being that project on a page, the one spot where your team need to go to so that they can really get to task and find all of their work in one given place. Last thing I'll point out on this is the shareability. So often with dashboards is, maybe it's not exactly the project team working on it. It might be a stakeholder or even an external collaborator. You'll have the ability to share this with different people. So they can be either an admin, somebody who can change it, or they can be a viewer only. So this is really, really helpful when you have those, maybe somebody who sits in a different department, or, if you're working with clients, you can share it with them so they can get the updates, but it's view only, so that they can just focus without potentially editing something that they shouldn't have access to. And of course, those can be people as well who aren't even Smartsheet users if you choose to publish the dashboard. And likewise with the sheets, you've got the ability to create granular sharing permissions around what people can actually access. So again, you've got the admin, editors, and then specifically viewers, so you can tailor how people consume the information in your sheets. So that was a quick run through, very high level of how you could get started. Hopefully some good tips and tricks in there for everyone to dive in and hopefully, get their hands dirty with the Solution Center. Nina, I'll pass it back to you if there's any questions or anything else.
Yes, thanks, Brianna. We have one. Something to do with color coding their work automatically.
Oh, yep.
So this is something that you can do on a sheet, right? Where we can utilize the color balls. And then how can one automatically do that? Like if the task is overdue, how can you make it automatically red, or if in progress yellow, or done green?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. I might just share my screen again and show you some of the options. Here we go. Okay, so the question was about color coding, and there's a couple of different ways of doing this. So firstly, we've got conditional formatting. So if I open up this conditional formatting box right here, I'll just point that out in case you missed it. This lets you create rules around how we want to color different items. So for example, if a risk is flagged, then apply the red format to the entire row. We can make these more complex, simpler, however you'd like, but you can say things that automatically, as soon as it goes flagged as red, the row is going to go red, and then the complete will be green, etc. So that is a really, really good way of doing things. The other thing that we can do is use formulas. So a very common thing to do would be have a formula in your health column or your risk column to say, if the due date has expired, if we've gone past it and the status has not been marked as completed, we want to automate this as going at risk, or the status ball to go to red, so that takes the question out of it, and everybody knows what equates to an at-risk task. So all of these have formulas enabled. You'll be able to write in formulas to automate those if you'd like.
Brianna, we also have one question from Mangesh, and he is asking if he can sync his email inbox into Smartsheet. So when a new email is received, that is added to a task list in Smartsheet. Is there a way that we can do that?
So from the email, you would automatically create a task into the sheet?
Yeah, like an add new row or something. So when an email Yeah.
We do. We do have plugins with email where you'll be able to have an add-on to Smartsheet in your inbox, and you'll be able to actually turn that task into a new row in your sheet, which can then become, a task for people to action directly.
I know for Gmail users, there's a plugin, right?
Yeah.
For Smartsheet. So that's one way that you can do that. Not so sure if this is something that we can answer live, but we'll give it a go to Brianna. So Ebony is asking if we could link a net documents instead of uploading a document as an attachment. So I'm not so sure if we have an integration. I don't think we do, but Net Documents has a REST API. So as a sales engineer, I'm sure you've been getting asked a lot about this. So what is your answer there?
Yep. So for anything that we don't have a native integration with, as long as that system has an API that we can integrate with, then we have multiple integration options that you could leverage, where you can build an integration to actually make those two systems talk together.
Okay. Last question. Oh yeah, I raised my hand. So last question from me. Maha mentioned about the collaboration part and really sharing it to 1,000 people. So maybe if we can touch on a bit about the dashboards, because that's the visual layer of everything, and essentially that is what people would like to see. We've had several cases before. We've actually helped clients save 1 to 2 hours of their time every week because they don't need to create PowerPoint presentations anymore, and the dashboards is helping them because it's live and up to date. But when you share, what are the different permission levels that you can give to someone who's not part of your organization?
Yeah, so on the dashboards, people will be able to be a viewer or an admin. And so if they're a viewer, they'll have no rights to actually edit anything. It'll just be viewing the information that's been presented, as long as they've been shared to the sheets underneath. So you'll really have access to ensure that people aren't shared to things that they shouldn't be able to see. And as an internal user, then if you have the right permissions, then you could edit the dashboard yourself.
So yep, I think we got it all. Thank you so much for that, Brianna. Now, if you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to your customer success manager. If that's me, if I'm onboarding you right now, send me an email. You can come to me anytime if you would need some help. Okay, so if you enjoyed today's session, let's show some love for our speakers by using and drop a heart emoji in the chat box, or maybe clap your hands. Yeah, let's show some love for Maha and Taylor. Oh, thank you so much for that, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that was involved in today's session, especially to Maha and Taylor. We appreciate your time to share your Smartsheet journey and wish you continued success. I'm personally happy because you're the first customer from Sydney who participated in this user group. But my next goal is someone from maybe Asia, Singapore, Hong Kong, anywhere. But yeah, that's our goal. Anyway, for our audience here, if you're brand new to Smartsheet, our next meetup is on April 27th, so save the date. If I'm onboarding you, you will definitely know about this. I will invite you all and make sure you participate in the next one. We also have a number of virtual and in-person user groups coming up. So if you would like to attend any of these, please reach out to your account team. If that's me, please let me know, or simply visit our APAC user group page, which we will send the link to following today's session. If you'd like to share your Smartsheet story, like what Maha and Taylor just did today, and present at a user group, whether virtually or in person, we want to hear from you. So simply let your customer success manager or email us on usergroups@smartsheet.com. And as a reminder, we'll be sharing the recording of today's session after the event. We'll also send a quick survey on today's session. Please share your feedback so we can make them as valuable as possible. For the recording, please feel free to share it to your colleagues, teammates, spread the good news, spread Maha and Taylor's story. And yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for joining, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Move with the the rhythm. Shake it up, stop when the clock hits 13. You've been working, that's your flirting.